Well, welcome back, everyone. We took a Sunday off from last week. I had some things to take care of, but we're back, and we had a pretty interesting previous session because this is the calm after the storm, I think, with the Fire Titan put back into its plane of existence, the Copper Takers, Copper Keepers, and the other organizations that have been now brought under control, and individuals of those in charge have been kind of arrested as well. And Vasselheim has now kind of put a pseudo organization in charge of maintaining a bit of law, order, and kind of get the Gnomeworks Island back under a semblance of normalcy now that the principal parties are no longer in control. We do know that one of the simulacrum versions of the lizard folk that we've come to know as Varix, I believe is his name. Vassarisk is at play still, and possibly partnering up with a possible vampire at the same time. As
very, very, very old.
They were making their way out to possibly leaving Gnomeworks at about the same time that the group had dispatched with the Fire Titan. Back in Gnomeworks itself, and with the Underdwell being freed from forced isolation, with the city kind of enjoying this kind of renaissance of freedom now under the tutelage of Vasselheim, the team began to explore the city. First of all, getting some new recruits for the upcoming journey towards the island, as the head of the Tabaxi, known as Jocelyn, has decided to take Spot up on his offer to be a party on the ship. While
in the background?
Whose feet are those? I hear a doggo.
Oh, it's a dog. Okay, I thought it was one of the cats going crazy.
I don't know. It sounds like a tail or a.
I mean, one of my cats is digging in a litter box.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there it is.
I mean, he's on. He's the black blur that's moving in the background.
Oh, there he is. I see him now.
That is
digging a hole with China.
So with that, Xanath and Puck decided, after having an interesting conversation with the prefect, to do a little research, and learned quite a bit about the Claret orders, vampirism, and other things related to Vampire. While Spot was recruiting for the ship at the Red Eye Casino, Earthen got to know a strange member of the Harpers, an organization from some untold land, but also discovered a mysterious room, a vault, that the now surviving, or the now individuals in charge of Gnomeworks, are debating as to whether or not to enter the vault or to gain access into the vault, as it would seem to be a place that the Copper Keepers were using to store either items or relics of power. And where I kind of think that's where we last left off, right? Was Earthen leaving that general area to begin looking to find everyone else, if that's correct.
Yep.
And I believe it's the second day since the second day after your arrival back to Gnomeworks, the capital port city of Gnomeworks. Go ahead, Puck.
Oh, I think Winter was with Xanath. And
yeah, sorry, Winter was with Xanath. Where were you?
I got the merfolk hand at the store.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You went shopping.
You
found the
hand of
Merfolk. That's right. And also, we start off with Winter coming back from the courts and bringing some interesting news about the Fey courts and some possible concerns about what might be going on. Although she didn't necessarily share all of it with everybody as well.
Yeah. We got the context information, but not direct from her information.
So at the end of afternoonish of day 2, Puck has done some shopping, Xanath and Winter, some research into the Vampire, as well as an organization known as the Claret Order. Earthen discovering the vault, and Spot recruiting some Tabaxi to participate as crew once the team decides to set back on their pace of heading towards the Shattered Isles. And now, as opposed to being under the auspices of the Wanderman Assembly, have kind of taken on the hope of Pike and the others who wish for you to see this thing out to make sure that whatever threat lies in the Shattered Isles is dealt with, as it's believed the threat still is there, but unsure as to what the final goal was. Even though the Copper Keepers have been dealt with and the Fire Titan was not successfully brought into existence, there still had this overriding feeling that somehow all this might be connected to something out on the Shattered Isle, whether it is the coming of a very dangerous dragon turtle and its relationship with the merfolk, whether it's the veil that you have to pass through, the arcane veil to pass through to get to the Shattered Isles, or whatever Varix and why am I forgetting his name?
Mason.
Thank you. Whether it's Varix and Mason's opportunity to conduct some final effort to conclude their plans, it's not entirely known at this point. But it's late afternoon. You guys are kind of spread throughout the city at this point. What would you guys like to do?
I was going to take my Tabaxi bud shopping, see what they needed. I sent you a message in the Discord. Did I ever get the other guys' names, or obviously?
No, just the leader of the group.
Okay. All right, but yeah, okay. Shopping trip. What do you guys need?
Well, I mean, we could. I don't know. What do you think we need?
Well, I mean, we're going on an adventure into the
No.
into the Shattered Isles, into the
no. I mean, look, the bard is here, right? Okay.
Well, you're not near me, but yeah.
But yeah, you continue to plague me.
Just good to have stuff. You can never be too well armed. I mean, right? We did just see like a massive city implode and stuff, and I'm not even part of that.
Well, you saw it. We didn't.
Well, I'm the general we, like but
we just saw the smoke in the background. I mean, and then suddenly Vasselheim was here, and suddenly everything is kind of like okay. But I'm way too sober for this. What do we? Shouldn't we just do what we normally do and just steal what we need?
Well, I mean, we're about to leave this place, and as much as I like the idea of stealing all our things, I don't need the local conservative called on me right now. So I was just going to purchase your stuff. Like, again, ordinarily, all for it. Good job. But no, I got it. It's on my tab. We'll be fine.
Well, okay. I need clothes. I need armor. I could use some weapons.
Yeah.
Can't go without the good rum. Don't want to take the shitty rum.
Oh, no.
Yeah, let's go shopping.
Yes.
One of them kind of looks at the other. This is shopping thing. I'm not really sure what we're supposed to do. Is he talking about paying for stuff without stealing stuff? Is that what he's saying? And they're kind of mumbling to each other behind you, like as you kind of lead them into like some of the more market districts and market areas. The only place that's an effort to get to is the Sky Market, which is further up into the cliffside face and the jungle level of trees. Otherwise, in the entertainment district, it's limited. There's not a lot of options. But I'll say, for brevity's sake, you and the Tabaxi run into Puck as she's coming out of the Sky Market area and down into the entertainment district. And Puck, as you come down, there's Spot with 3-4 other Tabaxi. He seems to be leading them into the lower market area of the entertainment district. But I'll say you guys cross paths. The two of you cross paths for a brief moment.
Puck, look right now. Look right now. Look right now.
Oh,
I mean,
hey,
I'm happy
hey.
for you, but
Yeah.
I still feel a little bit miffed that you just left me. I mean, it's fine, but like, we'll talk about it.
I had to go find my other Tabaxi bros. I mean, come on, they're gonna be so cool on this trip. Come on, get it right.
Meanwhile,
yeah.
while Spot's saying this to you, behind him, they're drinking from like little flasks, and you watch as one of the Tabaxi like snatches a coin purse off of just a casual wander by, and they're drinking heavily, and they look like trouble, but they might be controllable trouble.
Aww. I think I was with a halfling friend that was gonna take me to buy some armor because my armor class is not great. Do you guys need armor? Do you want to go with us, or are you on your own shopping spree?
Yeah, I mean, I the more the merrier. I was just going to take you over to my buddy on the other side of the city there. Really good armor smith. I mean, if you and your Tabaxi friends want to come, I mean, the more the merrier. You know, the more we buy, the easier it is to negotiate our price.
That's true.
You know, just pointing that out.
I do love a bargain deal.
I mean, that
Also,
sounds good. I got no idea where to even look. I mean, monk.
let's go buy some cool ass shits. And
So
I want to.
a gnome, a halfling, and a parcel of Tabaxi now begin to head towards the opposite end of the districts, over towards the Harbor's Ward, where one of the armor smiths and weaponsmiths has like a place that he maintains down there. The halfling begins to just go on about these tales and stories about this particular dwarf that has some particular skills. So listen, when we get there, I need you guys to do me a favor, though. He's kind of had a rough life. He's seen a lot of activities out there, so try your best not to stare at him. He's pretty horribly scarred, and he kind of walks with a limp, and his left arm's a little bit disfigured from an accident he was in. So just be cool, just like and already, Puck, you could hear the Tabaxi kind of laughing it up, just getting drunker and drunker. The deeper towards the Harbor's Ward that you guys are now going down. You come down the elevator platform. One of the Tabaxis has to reach out and grab the other one before he falls off the platform, and you feel it hit. And now you're down in the Harbor's Ward. It's pretty busy with mostly Vasselheim traffic at this point. The halfling kind of leads you off the platform, and the rest of you towards like a bunch of warehouses, and you could see a couple like forge stacks like belching out smoke, as well as the halfling kind of leads this kind of montage mixed bag of individuals into that kind of more like light industrial area of the Harbor's Ward. Puck, give me a perception check as you're wandering, and Spot, give me one as well.
All right, 1 second, because
Hard start.
honestly, honest question: can I use my passive on this? Just my passive is kind of ridiculous.
No, passive won't work for this. So, Puck, what'd you get?
It was a nat 2, but it's a 3.
So that's a 3.
Nat 20 plus 9.
29.
Well, fuck.
As the halfling leads you into this specific area, you begin to notice something, Spot. A lot of these warehouses now look newly abandoned. Their doors are open. The detritus of whatever was once inside the city or inside these warehouses just kind of like, you know, like when a going out of business sale happens and there's empty racks and wrappings and things on the ground that look like people just left in a hurry. The warehouse district gives you that vibe, Spot. Like almost as if something happened quickly. These warehouses were emptied. And for you, Spot, one particular warehouse, while it's empty, there are a couple familiar barrels inside of it that you remember from the ship outside of Thane's Reach. They have that similar kind of warning skull and crossbone. You could see the slimy seepage beginning to bulge at the edges of the barrel, and it's got a strange smell. Even though you could hear the forges working up ahead of you, there's still like you're passing this open warehouse looking, and those two barrels are very triggering for you because you remember what happened back off the beach when those barrels plummeted into the salt water and those strange worm-like creatures came out of them.
I'd like to
rip the shit out of his arm.
Go ahead, Spot.
I'd like to point them out to Puck.
Puck, you watch as Spot points over to a warehouse where these two rickety old barrels are, but you recognize the look of them. They look a lot like those barrels that you guys saw on that one ship.
Oof. Can we check to see if there is anything inside of them? I mean, you know, casually. Yeah.
Somewhere a bard just lost his wings.
I'm just saying. When you guys were on the boat, you opened one of the barrels, and then what happened?
Hey, I wasn't part of that. I was stealing things.
So, Puck, you wander over. Give me investigation as you kind of start looking and then examining the barrels.
All right. While she's doing that, can I kind of pull the tabaxi to me and just kind of like I want to just engage them in a conversation, but like, you know, try to force like this is important. I need you to sober up for this.
Give me a persuasion check as you start trying to corral your tabaxi friends.
Ooh, actually, that's not bad. 18.
Okay.
All right.
Jocelyn kind of looks at you and fine, corks it, puts it in his bag, goes over to the other three tabaxi, takes their hydro flasks away from them, corks them, and puts them in his bag, and like hands them strange paper wrapped meals. They're just wrapped in paper, and they just, you know, start just eating it voraciously. And he's like, "All right, our new friend, we gotta stay solid. Be cool. All right?" And he's like spending a few moments trying to get the rest of his crew under control.
Okay. Now is not. I will answer any questions you have about this later. I need all four of you to go find as much salt as you can. I don't care how you get it. Get me as much salt as you can and meet back here in 15 minutes. Can you do that?
Sure, maybe. I mean, sure. Yeah. We could do that.
Okay. I'm just going to kind of turn to Puck and just be like, all right, let's kind of... Do we notice anyone else kind of moving in or out of the area, or is it just us and the gnome?
I would say with your passive, this part is there's foot traffic, like hurriedly going up over towards the forge works that are on the other side of the warehouse district, and there are cartloads of people taking things off to other sections of the island. Hold on really quick. Let me restart my camera. It's giving me some difficulties really quick. I swear the IT gremlins. When they come in full force, they come in full force. By the way, welcome to session 43, everybody.
43.
You can imagine that. Session 43. I forgot to mention that earlier. So with that, you look around. Right now you feel like, because there's so many abandoned warehouses here, no one's really taking a specific interest to you. They know you're there, but they just assume you're just part of the transition that's going on. And they don't really see you as a threat. But you watch as the 4 tabaxi start heading back towards the other side of the dock of the harbor ward to see if they can find any salt. So you lose track of them, so that basically you and Puck are now at the entry point of the warehouse staring at these barrels. Puck, what'd you get?
Another resounding nat 2, but it's +4, so it's 6.
6.
A harsh day.
Yeah, as you're staring at these barrels and examining the writing, the condition that they're in, Spot comes up alongside you. So Spot, everything that Puck has noticed, you're now noticing as well. They do look similar to the barrels that you remember seeing on that ship, but there's something about them that feels a little bit different, but you're not really sure what it is.
Can I just kind of tap on them or knock on them to see if I can sense if they're full?
Yeah, you kind of lean over, you knock on the barrel, and there's definitely a fluid inside of it. Like, it feels like some kind of fluid is inside. But the one thing you remember from being on that ship was that the barrels, while similar in appearance, there's no sign of like any movement. And the lid is sealed with like a copper kind of fashioned metal on the top to keep the lid secure into the interior of the barrel. So it's sealed a little bit differently. It feels like a barrel that's just full of liquid.
Can we maybe go back and can I just like shoot an arrow at it and see what happens?
Sure,
Or
wouldn't
is
take
that-
much of an effort. You like
I'll ask,
you
I'll ask
back.
Scott if that's an advisable.
Yeah, I mean, you backpedal a little bit. You place the crossbow bolt in there, and you just gotta shoot at it. The bolt sticks into it, and now there's like a gelatinous kind of liquid, like running from the little hole that you just made, with the bolt just stuck into it.
Okay.
It's a sour smell too. It's a real sour smell. Like maybe it's gone rotten.
Can I just throw something into it, like some beef jerky or something, just to see if it interacts with it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a small puddle of the sour mucousy substance. You throw the piece of pocket bacon into it, and it splashes into it, and nothing happens. It seems different. It doesn't seem like the same substance. It's just packaged in a similar way.
Do I have any vials or anything that I can maybe put a little bit of it into it?
Sure, give me a sleight of hand check.
Let's hope not to die.
Don't you have an alchemy kit too?
Ooh, 20. I do.
Okay.
I have like a Tinkerer's alchemy kit.
Yeah. Did you roll a natural 20?
It's a 17 plus 3.
Okay, go ahead and give me another roll, because you'll have advantage because you do have your Tinker's alchemy kit as well.
Ooh, okay. That's 20. That's no, this one's a 12, so the dirty 20 is better.
Okay. You pop out one of your small potion vials. You go over to where the liquid is kind of seeping out of the crossbow bolt hole that you just popped into it. You put the vial underneath the liquid, and it drips into it. And then you jam the cork into it. So you manage to collect an amount of maybe what would be equivalent to 2 doses of its use.
Okay. Any thoughts about this thing?
I don't want to mess with this at all. Like, I'm fully like, no. I was going to just encase the thing in as much salt as possible. If that doesn't work, set it on fire.
Actually, after last time, that's the better idea. Okay, I guess I can maybe try and study it a little bit in the alchemy kit, but I also do want to get to the armor thing because I really need a new armor.
Yeah, that's fair. So you guys take a few moments in the warehouse. Zenith, what are you and Winter doing at this point?
We've gone through all the books. I think my understanding is people will head back to the temple when they're done with stuff. So I think I might stick there. I'd like to scry on Sibo because I don't know if I've actually done that since we got back. See if I can find her.
Okay.
And maybe look at the book that the High Prefix gave me.
Okay. Winter follows you back to the temple. You find you and Winter kind of head back to the chambers that you guys have been given to use for the moment by the High Prefect. And Winter kind of like wanders off to the common room to kind of like read through some of the notes that you guys have gathered to try to see if she could figure out some interesting information in those regards. You kind of drift off towards your private chamber and decide to try to scry on Sibo. As you do the effect, as you do the spell, consuming the properties of the spell, per normal, you find yourself drifting into your ability to travel through your mind's eye. This is actually quite hopeful, because if she was dead or not on this plane, you would have the feeling of a lack of connection, as well as the spell being consumed with no connection.
Mm-hmm.
And your mind's eye now drifts and drifts and continues to drift until it's out over the middle of the ocean. Give me a survival check as you try to gauge how long your scry traveled into the ocean.
Okay. That's a 21.
Nice. Quite far, but quickly. As the nature of the spell, you're not limited to travel. It's just the feeling of a long amount of like ocean passing underneath you so quickly. You get the feeling that you're deep out into the Lucidian Sea, very deep out in the Lucidian Sea. And then your eye hovers over what looks to be an island of sorts. And your eye begins to drift down towards it. And that's when you realize it's not just an island. It's a 2 square mile surface of a shell. You can see strange kind of pearlescent and coral reef structures that look to be buildings, but not in the formal context. They're dwellings and they're habitats that people are using, and scaling all over the habitat. You could see the merfolk of various origins and luminescence and kind of physicality. There's a sense of organization to this. Meanwhile, at the very front of the island, you can see the huge monolithic head of the dragon turtle. You then watch as huge waves kind of drift up and away as the thing submerges, goes underwater. And then your eye begins to follow underwater. You can feel the membrane of water as it absorbs your scry effect. And now underwater, your mind's eye is beginning to follow the contrails, the bubble contrails of this massive creature just flourishing and diving ever deeper. But you catch up to it. The eye then passes into a 3-story coral structure. But it has temperate control within the structure. So once again, you feel your mind's eye pass through a barrier of oxygen, as you're now in a dry chamber. And within this chamber of the the interior of the structure looks like the inside of an oyster shell. You know, it has all those kind of like rainbow shiny colors of what an oyster shell would look like from the inside. And then mounted in a circular fashion around its base are individual holding cells built of old rusted iron. And sure enough, you see a familiar sailor in one of the cells from the one that had been taken from previous.
Peroni. He's alive.
You see Sibo in one of the cells, and you see her Dampier companion in one of the cells as well. There are other cells occupied by other individuals. And just as you kind of take all that in, from below, almost as if letting it happen, you see Sibo's face look up, and while she looks like she could use some sleep, looking up at your scrying eye, looking down at her, she just kind of winks up at you and then just kind of mouths, "I'm okay. Don't worry. Tell the others." And then you feel the scribe kind of like pull you back as the spell fades, and you just, your eyes watery, you kind of open them as you're back inside your bedchamber, back in the dormitory that was given to you by the prefect.
That's bizarre. That does not make any sense. All right, that's encouraging though.
She's still alive.
Yeah. I'm sorry guys, I'm getting a call. I need to pick this up real quick.
Go for it. So, Earthen, you wrap up your little investigation of the vault, the conversation with the Harper, and you're now coming down the bridge and gant your way down out of the Copper Takers and the Copper Keepers guild complex that they've built up into the tree. And you're back in amongst the rope bridges and platforms of the academies that they would use to practice and study and teach people certain acumens of what they would work on within the complex. So you're still high up in the jungle canopy of the place, but you've come out of that area, and you just wrapped up your conversation with let me pull up my notes.
Andrew. I really fudged writing his last name, so I couldn't tell you what it is, but it was Andrew something. It starts with a K. Kev, something like that. I really scribbled it in.
Yeah, Andrew Kiefke. Goes by the name. Oh, I'm sorry, Karzan. Andrew Karzan. That was the last conversation you have. And
I really fudged that last name.
But now you're out of the complex. Where would you like to go? You had also learned from the captain and Andrew that they're expecting the arrival of Caleb, Jester, and Ford to make some inquiries into the challenges that they're having to get into the vault itself.
Right. Can I look around and see? Like wandering down as we were coming down out of the main area of the leadership of the Copper Makers and Takers. I was going to look around and see if I see what would be possibly dormitory, assuming these guys are not going to be staying among the lower levels, but looking around for where may be living quarters. Because I'm starting to kind of see if I could figure out where, what's his face? I forgot his name now. Gribbles and those guys may have resided, and maybe their homes might have some clues as to what is in that box. Because we have books that they wrote. I mean, we have notes that they passed that we found on the crashed ships and things, and so I'm gonna look around and see if I can get a bead on something that looks like it could be one of the
you
higher
don't even
up
really you don't need to really look all that hard or far. There's a couple dormitory type structures that look to be places that they would have lived or resided in. So you kind of head over in that direction, and looking at them, they look abandoned. The doors are open. There's detritus on the floor and detritus out front of the building, but in the sense that it feels like that people were found here and then kind of hauled away is the vibe you get, because there's still a lot of stuff here. There's still a lot of, all the doors are open and there's obvious signs that people were kind of brought out of this place. It's, there's still a lot of gear and items here.
Okay. So I'll make is there no sign that, like, no guards or anyone around?
Give me a perception check as you look around.
Yeah. That's 24.
Okay. There's a small patrol of guards that are just kind of wandering the complex itself.
So they're within the building?
They're within the complex. Like, the complex itself is a series of different buildings. The council chamber that they used, these dormitories, they're on different levels. There's definitely a presence of guards, but at one point they just kind of, they're so far away, they look in your general direction, almost as if they're looking past you, and then just kind of go on their normal patrol route. So there's definitely a guard presence, but they don't seem to be particularly concerned with the area that you're in.
Okay. Given my general distrustful nature of everything, I'm trying to be a little stealthy about it. I'm not going to go waltzing into the thing, noticeable. Check. Sure. And my clothes give me advantage on that, right?
They do.
Those. Well, I'm glad they did, because I rolled a 5 with one, but an 18 with the other. So that's a 22.
22. So as you enter the main dormitory, and you get through the doorway into the hallway, there are at least a dozen other doors that are open. But at the end of the hallway, there's a door that's partially closed. It's not completely closed, but partial. And as you kind of get deeper into the hallway, looking into different rooms, you can tell that these are rooms that were probably being used by the gnomes that were kind of keeping things under control. Not necessarily the higher ups, but officers' quarters, people that were kind of keeping in control and keeping people from entering this space and up into this area. Kind of like what Puck ran into, the guards initially that were posted to kind of, keep people out who weren't allowed to come in. But at the end of the hallway, it just says Captain Masterson on the door. And the door's partially open. You get the feeling that this might be the gnome who was in charge of the dormitories at this point. You open the door, and while everything else in this building looks to be tossed, turned, in kind of like a frantic pace of searching or things being kind of tossed away, this room's immaculate. Hasn't been touched as far as you can tell. You could see a desk with a chair and lots of neatly stacked books and papers on it. You can see a bed that's been made. There's some bookcases, signs of a quarters or a place that a captain would stay in of sorts.
Okay.
The thing that's interesting is in the middle of the floor is a fresh congealed pool of blood in the middle of the floor.
Okay. I have like a side note first. If I cast detect magic right now, can I assume a ritual to keep it up for the purposes of investigation in the area?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll burn a spell slot to actually cast it right now. And then for as long as I'm investigating, I just want to keep it up.
Sure.
as kind of an awareness.
Through your journey through the hallway, and with the bubble of detect magic up pulsing into the different rooms, it doesn't really pick anything up. But when you get to Masterson's room, on the far wall, there's a painting, and the painting is giving off illusionary magic.
So there's blood on the floor, and there's the painting. The blood on the floor is just a pool, like it's not dripping any. It's not going anywhere.
Give me a medicine check as you examine it.
Not great. So that's a 5.
5. As far as you can tell, it's like a spot that somebody had died on the floor, and this was the pool of blood left behind, is what it feels like.
Okay. I'm gonna look up from the spot, just like as I go to it, look straight up over it. If there's any signs of anything from above or anything else.
Yeah, you stand there for a moment and look up. There's a rafter, and there's a hanging rope with blood on the loop end of the rope. You get the feeling that they found Masterson dead in this room, is the vibe that you're picking up on.
Okay. Why would he do that? I want to not investigate. Try to see if I can identify the painting. Just to see what its purpose is, like actually casting identify on it.
Okay. You kind of go over towards the painting and begin to look at it. As you cast identify on it, it is hiding something behind it. There's a small cubby behind the illusionary painting. Almost like a secret, almost like a little secret compartment.
Okay. Does it grant me any sense that there's a trap on the painting at all, or it's just
give me an investigation check as you
it's an actual illusion. Yeah.
Yeah, give me an investigation check as you.
Yep. Gosh, another not great roll. That's a 12.
I mean, as far as you can tell, the painting looks to be looks designed to create a false cover over the cubby. Like anyone walking in without the ability to detect magic would just see a painting and not think anything of it. In fact, you shift the painting slightly and there's nothing behind it, but then as you push your hand into the wall, it disappears into the cubbyhole beyond. And you could feel a book and a key.
Okay, well, those are coming out.
Pull them out.
I'll pull them out and start taking a look at them. See what we've got.
It is a silver plated key in the shape of a hand holding a clock at its end, with the key section almost like looking like these strange kind of like square configurations. The book is a operator's manual for something called the Hand of Fate.
Well. The Hand of Fate. What do we have here? I'm going to start thumbing through, or I'll at least pop over to the content and try to thumb through and see if I can get a context of where this might be taking me now.
Do you read Gnomish?
I can comprehend language.
Okay.
If I don't remember if I have Gnomish. Real quick. I don't think I do though. I think
normally calculates things for you.
Yep, for Gnomish. For Gnomish, yeah. I've got Common and Elvish, yeah. So I'll comprehend languages.
Okay. It's an operator's
manual. Now all the stops with this one.
Yeah, I know. It's an operator's manual for a machine that they've constructed called the Hand of Fate. The illustration on the inside is this 20-foot tall mechanical hand with an hourglass inside of it, with some kind of liquid gelatin inside the hourglass. And it goes on to describe, it is described as a fail-safe device in case they lose control of the island.
That doesn't sound good.
And the key is designed to initiate its operation. But in order to protect its operation after the finding of it, once it's actualized and initiated, it requires a complex kind of puzzle to undo its operation. But it doesn't give you much detail of the puzzle. It's almost like written in a fashion of someone else has a book that turns it off. This guy had the book that turns it on.
Well, Masterson, what were you hiding? 20 foot tall. All right, I'm gonna rather than walk, I'm going to like pop the window and activate my ring and fly out the door and try to go to like the next dormitory. Or I just try to pop in each dormitory and if all of them have a similar room like this one, I'm looking for whatever they might have left behind.
So as you're doing that, Puck, go ahead and give me a intelligence check as you begin to put together a test for the substance using your kit. So you have advantage on this.
Oh, nice. Okay. 23 is the highest.
It's really good.
Hey.
Now go ahead and give me a wisdom check with advantage because you are using the kit to see what the substance is.
Uh, 17.
17. The substance is a enzyme. It seems to be a nutrition enzyme designed and fabricated to keep those worm creatures alive. So these barrels seem to be filled with the remains of whatever chemical concoction they were using as a means to packaging the worm creatures. But probably it's not a complete solution. So this is one of many things that they were probably using to create the substance that they kept the creatures in. However, you can also give me a nature check with advantage to see if you can identify the creature that produces this enzyme.
Yeah. 26.
It is made up of the bile of a purple worm's stomach. It's an enzyme of a purple worm's stomach is what it is.
Huh. Do I know anything about purple worms?
You know that they're huge. They're deadly. If they don't crush you, they'll put a poisonous barb in you that will get you killed within seconds with the huge amounts of venom they produce. They're very, very rare creatures in normal circumstances. The fact that they've found enough to produce this enzyme tells you at some point they were keeping one captive and harvesting the enzyme from it.
Well, I have a bad feeling about this. I guess we will continue on our way. Or are we still next to the barrel? Or
you've been kind of waiting for the other tabaxi to get back. The halfling's been kind of patiently watching you do your little alchemy detection kit, and it took you about 15-20 minutes to go through all the analysis of the kit to pick up on the fact that it's purple worm enzyme. Meanwhile, eventually the tabaxi come back. You watch the spot kind of guides them over to the barrels, and they just start dumping huge amounts of salt onto the barrel. They just rip open the canvas bags and they turn over the bags and begin pouring it all over both of these two remaining barrels. And within about 5-10 minutes, they've emptied the few hundred pounds of salt that they brought back, and it is now neutralizing the enzyme.
Oh, good. Okay, so salt is still a weakness for it.
Feels like it.
That's really good to know before anything bad happens. Spot, do you think we should just maybe try and hide our little experiment here, so if anybody passes by, they don't, assume that somebody is onto them? And then
I like that. I like that idea.
Nice. Then we need to choose between, I guess, investigating further here or getting our armor, which mine is class 13, and I've died once, but that's fine.
Okay. Pup, come with me for a second. I basically just want to get out of earshot of the tabaxi.
And as you do that, the other tabaxi starts scrounging around for tarpaulins and other things to kind of like hide the barrels from plain sight. And then you can hear them shut the heavy warehouse doors as you and Puck get further away from the warehouse to have your own conversation.
I was going to be like, okay, I think you're right, but here's my thing. I don't need anything. I'm good on armor. I'm good on weapons. I'm not really looking for anything for myself here, but my friends here do need that stuff. I can stay here and investigate. I'm sneaky and clever, and I don't know. Ever since all that went down, I feel kind of peaceful. Like there's nothing really bad is going to happen to me unless I do something first. So I'll stick around here. And
famous last words.
Sanctuary, motherfuckers. But so I'm going to push. I'm going to put like 25 platinum into Puck's hands. Yeah, I have a ton. It's like give them whatever they. It's like give them whatever they want. Don't let them steal things. I have a feeling that could end really, really badly for us right now. So.
Well, I was really excited to do a shopping montage with you, but another time.
By all means, if you find like a cool weapon that you think I like, I'm not going to stop you. But yeah, it's like I feel like this is the better use of our time right now.
No, that's honestly, you've become a very wise kitty. That makes a lot of sense. Here, and I give them my coin drake in case things really do get worse. I hope you two get along.
You watch as the coin drake comes out as Lunch kind of perches up on Spot's shoulder and
hey, buddy.
Hey, don't worry, Puck. I'll keep an eye on him. I'll keep him out of trouble. Kind of like flourishes his wings and just kind of settles onto Spot's shoulder. You hear the halfling, Puck, can we get going? We're burning daylight here. If you want to get some armor.
Okay, we're coming. Okay, I'll see you soon. Stay safe.
Hey, guys. I need to check out some stuff in here, but Puck's good for this. Like any problem, it's like do what she says. I didn't catch your name, little halfling dude, but like I'm sure he's cool too. I'll rejoin you guys as soon as I possibly can, but I need to kind of look around and make sure, like Jocelyn, don't let them do anything particularly stupid, please.
Sure. I mean, that's okay. And the Tabaxi kind of look at Spot strangely and kind of following Puck. You catch up to the halfling that's now leading you through the warehouse district and towards the armorers. Coming out into where the armorers are all set up, where the forges are, it kind of makes sense as there's big piles of slag and coal and like the different things that they need. So you get the feeling that the ships come in, offload everything, it gets carted over here to the warehouses. The warehouses disperse the things that the forges need. And this feels like a large manufacturing area on the docks by the warehouse. And it kind of makes sense. You can see all the different forges, and the halfling kind of leads you and the other tabaxi over to one particular forge that is both a shop, a smithy, and like an actively working. In fact, it's very busy with 3 other dwarfs kind of working and hammering away. You could hear the constant, like, banging of the equipment. The halfling kind of yells out to one of the dwarves that you see. You can see that their left arm is horrifically like mangled and scarred. You can see that a patch of their hair is gone. You can see like a burn scar that covers a good portion of the left side of their face. And this very kind of like burly dwarf looks up from his work to see the halfling. Hey, you had brought me customers, I see. One moment. And he kind of like finishes up his work, takes off his huge gloves and his leather apron and sets it down. The halfling kind of leans over to you, Puck, and goes, his name's Ghelfi. He's a good guy, but he's had a hard life. But anyways, hey, Ghelfi, how are you? Hey, good to see. Oh, you brought a gnome, and you brought some tabaxi to my shop. Great. Let me go and lock everything up before they wander my shop. Jocelyn's like, no, we've got money. It's okay. Oh, even better yet, tabaxi with money. I'm sure they're about to make some good decisions. Well, keep your sticky mitts off my stuff. Feel free to look around. If something interests you, let one of my folk know, and they'll help you with what you need. Great. Oh, so little gnome, what could I do for you? You've got an interest in your face for something?
I do. I would like to improve my armor, and also to get an
Hey.
armor for my little cat here. And I point to.
Oh, wow. That's not really a little cat now, is it? That's quite a large cat, actually. That's a tiger.
Yeah, I'm familiar, but
Okay. And they eat people.
this
I
one
mean, the
only
two of you
extended
come
by
up with some
accident.
sort of agreement that he doesn't eat people. Is there?
He eats people when I tell him to, but
Oh,
you
well,
seem
that's
nice.
not the least bit terrifying at all. Well, he sits still for measurements. Can I
Yes.
take? Okay, good. He goes over to get some marked rope and string, and he starts very carefully measuring the kind of girth and physique of Punch, and then he looks at you and goes, "So, are you limited to what kind of armor you could wear?"
I would appreciate something that I can still move in, but something that would keep me safer than this one, let's say.
Hey, he looks you up and down. Well, I've got some pieces here you might be interested in. They're made from eel skin, which gives it a particular toughness and would give you some resistance to lightning as well. Quite nice stuff, actually. I also have some armor made from cured T-Rex skin as well, designed specifically to give you flexibility and durability at the same time, with some other enchantments placed upon them. I also have some leather armor. While the leather is particularly good and well cured, I would say that the metal studs that they put in the armor have a bit of enchantment and understanding to their use as well, giving you some resistances and some extra defense and reinforcement into the leather workings of the armor as well. It really depends on what you're specifically looking for, or what you may have to deal with later on as well.
Well, I'm going to be at sea for quite some time. Though I have to admit the T-Rex armor has piqued my interest.
Hey, well, as you know, it's a Halbrecht design with kind of a like a short-legged. I mean, I designed it oddly enough for some of the gnome captains and master sergeants from up above, so that it might fit you. You watch as he walks over to an iron box. He lifts the heavy lid and pulls out this really resplendent and well-made armor. And he comes over and kind of lines it up to you, and hey, it might need to be fitted a little bit more efficiently, but it looks like it might, it might fit you if you're interested.
Well, I try my best to keep an even face so I do not lose all bargaining rights. Hey, yeah, if it seems like a good fit.
So you he kind of takes off your old armor and you just have your tunic and your leggings underneath and begins to help fit it on you. And it's a little loose in some spots, but he's winding the leather like in and out of some of the loopholes and kind of tucks it in. And it's funny because as you wear it, it doesn't feel heavy at all. Like it feels very light, like incredibly light. And he goes, da. And he kind of like stands you off to the side, brings over a very kind of like crude standing mirror to show it to you. And it's very well done, very well crafted. So it's the halberd of the lizard is what it's called. It requires attunement. It is +2 to protection, so you get a +2 armor class bonus. It's also resistant to all forms of melee damage. So whether it's piercing, slashing, bludgeoning. So bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. So it's resistant to all the melee forms of combat. However, it's considered lightweight, so it does not add any kind of restriction to your movement. In fact, its design gives you an extra 10 feet of movement as well, because it's actually lighter than your previous armor. It's almost like you're wearing soft tunic armor. It doesn't even feel, but yet when you like pull out your dagger and you kind of scratch it across the armor, it doesn't even leave a blemish. Just kind of bumps and pushes the dagger away as you try to find a weakness into that armor.
Amazing. Well, first and foremost, my face, I try to keep it, very, very calm, but inside, in my brain, there's that like sassy shopping montage music when you found the dress.
And whenever you use that word, all I think about is Team America montage. You need a montage.
You really do, though. I think that might be a good fit. We're also buying for these. They're my friend's friend.
He looks over at the tabaxi, all trying on bits of leather armor, trying out some of the weapons that he had for sale up on the wall. They're kind of, a couple of them have put on pieces of armor and now are kind of dueling with each other, like experimenting with the weapons and the armor. The dwarves are kind of like, no, don't do that. Oh, don't do that. There's a bait for you. They're trying to keep the tabaxi kind of wrangled. And Ghelfi kind of looks, I suppose we could strike a bargain for the lot. So I would be remiss if I didn't admit to recognizing who you are.
I'm so sorry, the internet kind of blipped off.
I would be remiss if I didn't admit to the fact that I recognize who you are.
You do?
Your names of you and your friends have traveled the city. In fact, some of my connections with the Underdwell, I've spoken with them about you and your friends. I would be comfortable giving this armor as a gift to you.
I am beyond words. That is
But those fucking bastards over there, you have to fucking pay for.
Completely understood, honestly.
Yes. And if they're gonna travel with you, I might recommend, a big ball of yarn thrown in front of them for long periods of time. Might be beneficial to a trip.
Honestly, if you're selling yarn, I'm buying.
Oh, I wish it was. It was just a way for me to explain the awkwardness of this situation. It's not that I don't like Tabaxi, but they're kind of known for their sticky fingers and their short memories, so to speak.
Stereotyping is wrong, but sometimes, no.
I agree. I try not to do it, but like, for example, you're a gnome, but we've been living under the thumb of gnomish leaders for so long. But who am I to say one way or other about, where we all come from? But anyways, that's fine. Let's see, they're wearing new armor. They've got new weapons. You know what? Let's call it 150 gold, and we're good there. That's got to be 15 platinum, if you got it.
Yeah, I think I do.
Well, yeah, Spot gave you 25.
Yeah, I'm trying to be cool.
Yeah, you got this giant purse full of coins. You're like, here you go.
Well, actually, since you've given me this for free, I would like to kind of add on the patronage and see if I could get something for my friends. Do you have anything you'd recommend for travelers on the high seas at this time?
Well, I'm not much for being on a boat if I don't have to be on a boat. But I don't really sell nautical gear or nautical equipment. I deal in minor weapons and armor for those that need it. However, I got a friend on the other side of the harbor's ward. That's what that's what she specializes in. Her name is Lilith. Maybe she has things like that, but unfortunately, I don't carry such things.
Oh, sorry, wait, Lilith is the shop I was just in, or is it another one?
It's a different one.
It's a different one. Okay, good. More shopping.
Because you were up in the Sky Market, and then they sent you down here with your halfling friend who found the Ghelfi armor smith, and now he's saying on the other side of the harbor's ward, there's a friend that he refers to as Lilith that may have what you're looking for.
Amazing. And for my Tabaxi friend who couldn't be here, any weapon you think a Tabaxi would enjoy?
Well, to be honest, most Tabaxi are unregistered weapons to begin with. What is his specialty? Does he straight up fight, or does he run and hide and then fight? Does he drop from the ceiling and slit your throat? I mean, what is it that he the fashion of what they do?
I would say their speciality is jumping at things that are still moving and then just, killing them whatever way they can.
Well, I don't have anything specific that they might find interesting, but I do have this really cool device that I've used from time to time to kind of keep some of my own Tabaxi friends in line. It's a little wand with a little red crystal on the end of it, and you can shine it make a little red dot in front of it with the crystal wand, and if you move it quickly, you can hold their attention for up to an hour.
That is genius. Honestly,
yeah, I sell a lot of these.
I don't know if you've heard. I mean,
most people use them for their horses and their kitty cats and other things, but since you got to deal with that, and you watch as the four Tabaxi come walking towards you, and they've mismatched all their armor, but they've got cutlasses in their belts. They're they're armored up, and they've got fresh new weapons and fresh new backpacks filled with arrows and bolts. They've picked up a couple crossbows, and per Spot's guidance, I mean, they're armed to the teeth at this point. They've built out a kit.
Honestly, I don't know if you've heard of something called Shark Tank. but this could do numbers.
Shark Tank. Is that a tavern over on the other side or something? Sounds like it'd be a cool name for a tavern.
Yeah, no, it's a place in Nikondramus where people pitch ideas for businesses and inventions. If you're ever
That
in the
sounds
area.
interesting. I'll have to check that out the next time I'm in Nicodamus. You said it's called Shark Tank.
Yeah, strange
Gosh.
name.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I just think of a fish inside of a big old glass water. It's fine. I understand your point. It's good. It's all fine.
No, it's amazing. So
Well, enjoy your armor. I'll be here if you need me.
Thanks. One more question.
Of course.
I've heard some issues with pirates in this area. Do you know of anything? We just don't want to get into any trouble while we're leaving.
Pirates.
There's some rumors.
Like what kind of rumors are you hearing?
Earlier today, in one of the shops, somebody kind of talked about seeing some maybe less than savory folk moving around, kind of strange, I guess, vials or I guess, I don't know. They said they were moving something around. It's not a big deal. We just don't want to get into any trouble while we're leaving.
Give me a persuasion check with advantage, because you're on his friendly side.
Thanks for laughing.
It was a good roll.
Poor Earthling going robotic. What'd you get, Puck?
5 and a 1.
5 and a 1. Man, beyond taketh and beyond giveth. Well, it's just so bizarre because you had those back-to-back good rolls, and then it's like right back to square one. He just kind of, but other than some of the strange things that have been going on around here in general, I would imagine if there's any nefarious individuals doing anything, that they would not be interested in getting, into the dealing with the Vasselheim organization that's kind of taken over. I wouldn't worry too much about those rumors. I'm sure that's just the remnants of concern under our old leadership, I guess you might say.
Makes sense. I won't think about it too much. Thank you again.
Oh, of course. Well, thank you for, from what I understand, those in the Underworld owe their freedom to you and your friends as well. I just hope our new Vasselheim caretakers are as good as they say they are when it comes to equality of the people.
Yes, you know what? If you ever need to reach out to us, if something happened, because I do trust that you have the best interest of this place at heart, please go to, and I give him the information of the woman from the temple who can connect with Xanath.
Prefect and the location and all that. Okay, he kind of like, with a little charcoal pencil, kind of writes it all down and folds it up and drop it into a drawer. And he goes, well, thank you for your consult. I'll keep it in consideration.
Thank you. And thank you for making my cat look awesome.
You may want to come by tomorrow to pick it up. It should be ready then.
Amazing. I'll see you then.
Good. Thank you. Don't forget to take your friends with you as well.
Pulling them out by the tail.
Yeah. The halfling goes, well, I'm going to hang out here with Ghelfi for a bit and put in some orders and some other things. Really good meeting you, Puck. Really good meeting you. Don't forget to enjoy yourself while you're here. If you're going to be at the Red Eye Casino or some of the other things that they got going on, you can look for me. You never know. You might find me over there.
Hell yeah. We'll be back to drink some more alcohol.
Yeah. Okay, I'll see ya. And he kind of like turns, and as you and the Tabaxi head back in the direction where you left Spot. Spot, go ahead and give me investigation for starters. As you begin to wander the warehouses and look at the remains of the debris and other areas of the warehousing nearby.
Not so good. Just a 9.
A 9? The place is pretty picked over. Whoever was here left in a hurry. Go ahead and give me a survival check as well.
It's almost like these are in alphabetical order. 18.
I say that all the time in my other games.
I do that every day at work, just trying to find a different manufacturer. It's like, my God,
It's in alphabetical order.
where's this W in my list?
That's so funny. What'd you get again? I was laughing so hard. 18.
1-8.
Some of the alleyways in between the different warehouses are very heavily rutted, and the cobblestones are kind of like pushed up, almost as if very heavy wagons were brought through some of these alleyways. And so you kind of giving up on the warehouses, giving up any information, you kind of find yourself wandering the nearby alleyways in between the warehouses, and you drift in and out of them. And sure enough, you get amongst some buildings and alleyways where about a dozen heavy carts have been abandoned. Just kind of like off, like one's on its side, another one's are, they're kind of butted up against each other. Almost as if a whole lot of equipment or something was piled into them. They were brought here. And then you could see that there are a lot of signs of foot traffic, and like all this equipment was carried down into the harbor itself, like down towards where the docks would be. You get the feeling that this was an area that was just like, as soon as Vasselheim began to arrive, they gathered up a whole bunch of equipment, headed down towards the docks, and then took off. Go ahead and give me another investigation check as you examine the area that the carts are in and looking at the carts.
Just a 12.
12?
Actually, I actually have an inspiration. Let me burn that real fast. I want to say
Go
it
for
was
it.
a D8. Huh?
Go for it.
Let me roll that. So I got a 12, and let's see what this D8 gives me. Just a 2. So 14.
14 is still pretty good. I mean, there are bits and bobs and remnants of containers and jars and stuff that were piled in here. You do come across some residual enzyme liquid that was in those other 2 barrels. You get the feeling that these carts might have been transporting a bunch of that. But probably the one thing you find interesting is a leather messenger bag that's hanging off one of the carts. You like flip open the flap and look in. There's some parchment papers inside there. But as you look at the papers, they're gibberish. They're like, it doesn't make any sense. At first you were thinking maybe thieves' camp, but it's not. It's some kind of either encrypted message or some kind of use of a language you don't recognize. But it's documentation that might be linked to these carts. You're just not entirely sure how.
I'm definitely going to take that. I kind of feel like I don't really have a reason to take the satchel itself unless it's just like a book of documents. So I'm just going to kind of fold them up and tuck them in my sleeve.
Okay. You bind them up and jam them into your sleeve as you take those. You eventually wander out of the alleyways just in time to see Puck coming towards you with 4 very heavily armed and armored tabaxi as you guys kind of meet back up again. Xanath, back in the post-scry effect.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, it seems odd that Sibo hasn't hasn't cast sending to any of us, but having seen her try and cast sending and say, Sibo, you've been gone for days. How did you get on the turtle? Where are you going?
You feel the spell activate, but it's almost like you hit a barrier. Like you hit something that negates your ability to connect to her.
Okay. All right, so I'll give up on that. And the other thing I had wanted to do is take a look at that book that I got from the High Prefix.
Okay. Give me an investigation check as you begin to thumb through the book.
Okay, I'll use guidance. It's 12 plus 4. So investigation is +1, so that's a 17.
17. The book is the history of the religious understanding of Cord, as well as its relationship with the Dawnfather and Hell. This idea of the trifecta of, the strength of Cord, the hope of the Dawnfather, and then the faith of Helm. And this kind of like, it's all about these writings that occurred a very long time ago. And the author of the book is Jensen Strongheart. And that immediately rings true to you because one of the most famous paladins of Helm was this author, this Jensen Strongheart, who is said to have traversed many of the different continents and areas of Exandria, and then wrote this book that he calls the trifecta of faith and understanding of the greater good. And it goes into a great deal of detail about how important it is that to the mind, body, and soul of the rule of 3, the design of the strength of the will, the importance of the strength of hope, and then, of course, the importance of the strength of faith. And it's kind of reassuring that the prefect gave it to you because it's dated very old. And the prefect had described it as one of the older books that they had found when they had taken over the temple. And there is some written notes in the back of the book. It looks like recently somebody was using it for the purposes of study, and it seemed like they were trying to study what they call the first of the order of the Faith Keepers, a group of individuals that traveled Exandria sharing Helm, Cord, and the Dawnfather's idea of their religious understanding. And you get the feeling this might predate the temple, and perhaps she gave you this book because it's the oldest thing within the confines of the temple. There's a lot of content in the book.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll say for the next hour, that's kind of like the information that you glean from it for the most part, But eventually you hear a soft knock on your door as you hear Winter's voice. Zenith, everything okay?
I'll hide the book before I answer. Yep, everything's fine.
Oh.
You hear any word from the others?
Not yet. I'm hoping they'll be back soon. It's getting late. Is there anything we should do? Anything you want to do? Feels strange that, it's really weird when you're not trying to not die. Don't really know what to do with myself. Kind of used to things trying to eat us, squash us, blow us up, infect us, scare us. It feels weird not feeling threatened. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope it makes sense.
I think for Xanth, she's so focused on there's this imminent threat. We need to get on this boat to prevent the apocalypse. That I'm Xanth doesn't understand that at all. So I'm just
we're just
yeah, totally.
We're just I'm just sure. I'm gonna go head over to the Coral Finger and maybe get some drinks and something to eat. You wanna go see if maybe the others might be over there?
Sure, I'll tag along, and
Okay.
I'll shoot a message, or I'll cast sending maybe to Puck and tell her we're headed to the Coral Finger.
Okay.
And I'll send one to Earthen too, because I've got the spots.
Gotcha. Let's take our 5-minute break, and when we come back, we will do the second. I don't know where that hour and a half goes, man. Every time.
Flies away.
I know, right? So let's take our 5-minute break, and when we come back, we'll do the second half.
Right.
And we are back. Sort of.
And one is back. I missed Lawful Chaotic this week. I was bummed out.
Did we have one?
No.
I didn't think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was at Disneyland.
Ooh.
I originally thought Brian was going to try to get the bearded gnome on, or bearded nerd on,
Yeah.
to talk about Gen Con, because I know he went to Gen Con.
Yep.
And I thought that's what they were going to do, but I guess they decided not to.
Yeah, he canceled for one reason or another. But I did tell him, I told him, like, you guys, between the two of you, pick up Baldur's Gate 3, and a live playthrough with the two of you guys and a couple of people would be a delight. I think that would be utterly delightful.
A couple old men fart around, I guess.
I mean, there's so much just random, stupid shit you can do on that game. It's so fun.
Yeah, I've heard while the main quest is a certain number of hours, that like thousands of hours of like side activity you could do.
Oh, yeah.
If you want.
Yeah.
Which is very unusual, for open world games these days, for sure.
Well, Larian as a studio made it a point to triple their studio size to make the right game instead of trimming everything down to make the easy game.
Right.
And I mean, it's like the interactions and everything you can have. It's pretty awesome.
Well, it was in beta for a long time, wasn't it?
I played it in early access. I played through early access, which is like the first arc of the story.
Right.
I played through that probably 5 times to completion, like everything I could find to do with it. And you can do it differently every time.
Gotcha.
And the bard, I mean, obviously I'm playing a bard in it, but
of course,
when you cast cutting words, he actually like makes comments about whatever you're fighting.
Right.
Or if it fails, he's like, my voice is dry,
That's pretty funny.
I'm like, this is so good. So I played, there's another game that's based on the 5e like core mechanics, but it had to invent a whole new world because licensing, called Celeste, Crown of the Magister. I think they do generally, I think that one's a better mechanical game than Baldur's Gate 3, but Baldur's Gate 3 has so much of the story and everything else in it that it's easily the superior game.
Yeah, a lot of
But
times
those two games merged to one.
A lot of times the lore wins out. Like when the story is good and the lore is good, it tends to win out more often than most.
Yep.
So Zenith, you and Winter are heading over to the Coral Finger. You just sent a send over to Puck. Puck, you hear Zenith mention. You can reply to her as she finishes sending that out to you.
Gonna finish shopping, be there soon, a whole bunch of tabaxis, and I'm keeping it vague on purpose.
Yeah.
Just lean over to Winter and like, they got the tabaxi.
I feel like I'm being vague on purpose is actually part of the message too.
Yeah, like Winter goes, does that mean if it's a group of tabaxi, is that a litter of tabaxi? Or how does that work?
I think it's a murder of tabaxi.
So true. So Earthen, as you fly out the window to begin your investigation of the other dormitory, what are you looking for? What are you doing?
So that one was like the captain of the guard, or like of that kind of area. I'm looking for higher up that chain of command. Who would have the other pieces to this puzzle, or the other pieces to put this puzzle on the board and try to figure it out?
Right. Give me an insight check as you begin to look around.
I'm going to burn a lucky point for that because I have lucky and there's not really anything else I'm going to use it for right now because that was a 2. And I'd rather get better than a 2. Oh, that was a nat 20 that time. So the lucky point was on purpose, right? And with my insight, that's a 31.
31.
Yeah.
So as you begin to take in the entire complex, you could see the council chambers. You could see where the 30-foot tall structure of the vault is off at the very top back portion. You can see the different dormitories. You can see the academy. You could see everything has been constructed with a great deal of care, but you're just not seeing any structures that looks like the personal kind of residence of what you would call the elite group, the ones that used to be in charge. And that's when you begin to realize that they were mostly at Thane's Reach. That's where they resided. That's where they focused their efforts, their attention. And it feels like now to you, like this place was the facade. This was built as a front for their guild activity to maintain their wealth and their sense of involvement within the different guild and merchant classes. But those that were truly in charge were at Thane's Reach. And that's where they resided. Whatever they had, whatever they hid, whatever they were doing, went up with Thane's Reach's destruction at the same time. Because you're looking at the complex and you see no sign of an obvious structure that would make sense. But with that high insight roll, it does beg the question, how were they getting from Thane's Reach to here so quick? Like, did they have an alternate form of transportation? Is there something that they were using? And that's when it strikes you. You look back in the direction of the vault, and sure enough, tucked away some 20 feet above the platform that the vault is on, you can see a 2-story tower built into the canopy of trees. You didn't see it there before because you weren't up and looking at the complex. Mm-hmm. Now you could see it because it's so well buried back into the canopy of the jungle trees that there is a secondary tower purposely tucked away.
I'm going to start flying towards it. I'm flying intentionally to stay away. Like, nobody's looking up. You know, they're all looking out.
That's fair. You glide over, and that's when you realize there's no immediate access to the tower. Like, it's not built on a platform. It's built into the tree canopy itself. And as you get a little bit closer, you feel yourself pass through a barrier. And that's when you realize you've passed through the illusion of this spot that you were looking at. And there is a 30-foot diameter stone platform that you're now hovering over. You can see out of the illusion as it's clearly being maintained. And there you see a teleportation circle built into the stone platform. You don't even need to make an Arcana check. You're like, oh, well, this makes sense. This is how they've been getting back and forth to Thane's Reach. Somewhere in Thane's Reach, there must have been a teleportation circle, and they've been using that to traverse between the 2 points. So while they worked here and did work here, they lived back at Thane's Reach.
I would like to investigate around the circle area. If there's any remnants of if they're removing things back and forth, if there's anything left like around the outside that wasn't able to be taken away because an explosion blew up everything else on the other side.
Right. Give me a survival check for starters.
Okay. That's 18 plus 6, 24.
24. There's a lot of foot traffic on the edge of the platform. And it looks like it was within the last week or so, right before Gnomework fell. So there's definitely some activity on the platform that looks suspicious to you. Now give me Arcana with advantage.
Okay, that's 14 plus 7. That's a 21.
You begin to examine the teleportation circle in a little bit more detail, and that's when you realize it's still active. And the only way for it to still be active is if it's connected to something on the other end. So whatever's on the other end of this teleportation circle, it's still active. It still exists. So if this was supposed to take them to Thane's Reach, wherever that location is may still be functioning down in the kind of like debris pile that is what Thane's Reach is now.
So I have a side question about how teleportation circles work. Because if there's stuff on top of the circle there,
so on the platform, you could see all of the arcanic sigils and writings that denote that it's a teleportation circle. Some teleportation circles are interconnected throughout a network of teleportation circles. But as you read the arcanic writing and the way that this one's built, this one's designed to go only to one, like a single use of one direction. In other words, people can't arrive here unless they know about it from another point. If you're in Nicodranus and you use the teleportation circle to identify this one, you don't see the Nicodranus sigil that would allow that to happen. So this is definitely an isolated teleportation circle.
I mean, but if the circle on the other end had stuff on top of it,
it would be destroyed. It wouldn't be functional.
Okay, it would prevent it from. Okay, that was
correct.
The question.
Yeah.
So if I was to step through this, I'm not in danger of, what was that on Star Trek when they got the gray things floating through the stuff, and I'm not in danger of being disfigured on the other side.
You get the feeling that the only way those sigils would all still be active is if you were able to teleport to the teleportation circle.
Okay.
And right now, those sigils are all equally active. So it's connected to a functioning teleportation circle.
I've put the book and the key in my haversack. Also, I'm gonna turn around and look at the other, like outside, or actually, I want to look and see if I can figure out what's generating the illusion here.
You can give me investigation, or you can cast detect magic.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go on and pop detect magic.
Okay. As you do, the teleportation circle gives off the magic as well. In the center of the teleportation circle, you could see a round kind of like a round stone that's slightly beveled into the platform. And you could see like a blue illusionary light kind of beaming from it that would be invisible to normal vision. But if you had detect magic up, you'd be able to see it. So as it's beaming upwards, you get the feeling that that's the source of the illusion.
Okay.
And it is greater illusion.
Okay. So I'm going to try and dispel the illusion.
Okay. What level?
Greater illusion. Let's take it to 5th level.
Go ahead and give me a D20.
Yep. I'm gonna burn another lucky point on that one. I don't like that roll. I'm glad I took that feat, right?
For a bard, it's almost like a guarantee you got to take that one.
Right. Oh God, that wasn't that much better. That's an 11.
11 total.
Yeah.
Is that including your spell modifier?
No, didn't add my spell modifier. That spell modifier added, so that's 15.
15.
Spell attack or modifier. Sorry.
Spell modifier, I believe.
Okay, yeah, 15.
You feel the dispel effect kind of kick off, and it fails to bring down the illusion.
Man, I knew these guys were smart. Okay. Regroup. Got to get this. Look at this again. Can I recognize any place names or any within the arcing, the teleportation circle, or anything that would detail the place?
It's definitely linked to Thane's Reach. You pick up on the sigils that identify where the other teleportation circle would be. Other than that, whoever crafted this circle and the illusion knew what they were doing. Very, very much skilled in this particular type of magic that they used.
Okay. I want to go fly out and find Andrew.
Okay.
And bring him here to see this.
Okay. You track him down over by the rope bridge. He's like, "Oh, you're still here. Why are you still here?"
You might want to see this.
Okay. He kind of follows you back over towards the vault and he goes, "Yeah, it's the vault. I showed you that, sure."
Come on. I could be the asshole, or we can actually keep going. And I'd lead him around to the back, to where the illusion breaks.
Holy
as we step through.
Shit. What the what? How did you?
Are you happy now?
How did you
didn't
know
do
this was
anything.
here? I should go get the captain.
No.
He stops and why not?
I don't know what's on the other side of this yet. And I don't know that what's on the other side will necessarily be beneficial to what I want.
What do you mean?
These Vasselheim types, they're very religious, and a lot of the shit that I've just been through is also very religious, and it bothers me, and I don't. If we go walking through here, and there's just anything like what I experienced in the last week, I don't want them to be a part of it.
Okay. So what do we do?
Well, I want to go through the other side of this circle.
How do you know you can get back?
I don't.
How do you know you can go forward?
It's still activated. And
Yeah,
I'm going to point out
active-
the
I mean-
you know,
He looks at it and he goes, "So you know how to? You have a teleportation spell?"
no,
Oh,
I don't.
I think that's the only way you can activate a teleportation circle.
But you know who might?
Who?
Have you seen Gribbles lately?
Yeah, he's still over at the council, hammering out details with the Vasselheim folk.
Okay, we have urgent need of Gribbles. And I'm gonna head off that way, not even waiting for him to answer.
He just and just kind of has a confused look on his face as you go to seek out Gribbles at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Xanath, you and Winter arrive at the Coral Finger. Puck, it turns out that Lilith's is a general merchandise store called Lilith's Place. A little kind of like female dwarf that runs it. Oh, lass, what can I get you? What you looking for?
Hi, my friend and I are about to head onto the high seas, and I was wondering if you have anything that could help us navigate this pretty treacherous area.
Well, I do sell maps. I sell sextants and other devices for the stars, as well. I without knowing where you're going, dearie, I don't really know what to offer you.
We're going into the Shattered Islands.
Well, why would you want to be doing that? You're just going to get yourselves killed.
We're hoping not to.
Well, you know what they say. Hope is not a plan. Anyways. Well, let me look here. And you watch as she starts looking around. Well, if you're dead set on going through that ghastly fog, I suppose you might want to use this. And she brings over a jar of honeybee wax, like, hive wax. But it's like a bright yellow. You can tell it's been carefully preserved. It's got like a strange marking on top of it. She sets it in front of you. Well, now, lass, from what I understand, that when you go through the veil, you're forced to listen to things that might cause you to go mad from voices. Now, this, if you ball it up and you jam it in your ears, it'll give you advantage on your wisdom saves. It'll also deafen and lessen the ability, giving you a resistance as well to the effect. I've sold it on 1 or 2 occasions, and they've come back and told me that it works. Personally, I haven't tested it to its fullest potential, but I could let you have a jar of it, good for up to 10 individuals to use it.
Huh. Do you remember any of those individuals who have come back?
No, I don't. I get so many people that come and go out of my store. To be honest with you, with all the changes and everything that's been happening, I've lost track of who they were. I apologize.
Of course. There's maybe an old kind of druid, a little bit distinct, I would say, in that disheveled.
Now that you think about it, or you say it, yeah. I think one of them was a kind of Mannheim, something like that to that effect. He had bought a jar of it from me, but someone else had bought a jar of it from me as well. She was a strange woman, seemed to be very distracted by something. She was a captain of her own vessel as well.
Did she maybe answer to something along the lines of the Martinets?
Oh, yes, that was her name. I mean, it's not really a real name or title. I think she was just known as the Martinet. Yes, I sold her a jar as well. Numerous occasions, I've sold her maybe 3 jars ever since I've been able to keep a supply of it. Unfortunately, this is all I've got left. Somebody recently came in and bought up an entire box that I had. I only found this the other day when I was going through my inventory.
Oh, how lucky for us. Do you remember who bought that? Maybe I can still buy some off them.
I don't rightly remember his name, but he had a creepy feeling about him. He had a strange eye and wore very colorful clothing as well. But
sounds like a character.
Not party clothing, like designed to confuse you or make you forget things. I don't know. He was a very strange person.
Oh, well, maybe he knows what he's doing. Do you remember anything else he bought?
No, just the beeswax to he had mentioned that he needed something to protect him and those traveling with him. I believe there were some basic supplies purchased as well, rations and other equipment for a long voyage. Didn't mention where he was going, but enough to stay at sea for 2 weeks.
Who knows? Oh, sorry, my Wi-Fi is being a nightmare today.
Bought enough equipment and supplies to be at sea for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Well, I guess I'll do the same. I mean, or more or less. Do you sell salt by any chance? One of our cooks is a little salt heavy.
Sure. I'd have kegs and bags of salt, 2 pounds, 5 pound, 20-pound bags. We're surrounded by ocean. It's pretty cheap to make.
Oh, that's true. And I guess I've heard some stories about, I guess mermaids, merfolk in the area. Do you know anything about that? Any good luck charms? Honestly, we're kind of grasping at straws, so anything is all that you can think of would be huge help.
Give me a persuasion check.
More than a one, more than a one, more than a one. It's 6.
Come on.
Fucking dice.
Sorry, dearie. Nothing like that sounds familiar to me. I apologize.
Understood. So I will buy the 20-pound sack of salt. And the beeswax.
Oh, yes, the beeswax. That will cost you 450 gold for that, as it is a magical device.
So sorry, my internet blipped again. Do you mind just a few? My internet today is a nightmare.
The beeswax will cost you 450 gold.
Oh my.
It's good for 10 uses, but it's a powerful magical enchantment. Unfortunately, it's also the last jar I have.
Do you sell medicine by any chance?
What do you mean by medicine?
Well, any kits, and maybe something to help with poison.
I do have some poison neutralizing potions. I have some healing kits, as well as I also have potions of healing, if you're in dire need of those as well.
Well, better stack our odds. Would love to come back here in the future and buy more things, provided I don't die.
That's a very morbid way of looking at it, dear, but I understand.
So I would say, can we purchase how much would be for a healing potion, for a poison neutralizer, and for a healing kit?
My healing kits sell for 100 gold a piece. When you use them on somebody, you can instantly stabilize their health. My poison neutralizing potion can be drunk and then neutralize the effect of any poison effect that might be on the person that drinks it. I have two kinds of healing potions. I have regular healing potions and I have greater healing potions.
Oh, what do either of them do?
Well, the regular healing potions will heal you for, 2d4 plus 2. The greater healing potions, I believe, are 4d4 plus 4.
Oh, hell yeah.
The greater ones go for 1,200 gold apiece, and then the regular ones go for 400 gold apiece. The neutralizing poison goes for 500 gold apiece. And of course, if you buy enough supplies, we could put all of these things together for a price. And Spot, you're there listening to this as well.
Oh, Spot, anything you want to buy as the chef?
Well, I actually I wanted to do something. I was following the thing with the beeswax, but I understand that it's scarce, but I was also looking up stuff. And do I have enough knowledge, just being like a cook and around things, to know like that sounds like more than a scarcity price? That sounds like flat out extortion to me.
You can make an insight check.
Also, if you want to do persuasion on that earlier roll, maybe Spot is more persuasive.
Yeah, I got a 14 on my insight.
14. You get the feeling that the price has gone up because of people buying it. That there's been such an extreme demand lately that she's clearly jacking up the price because of demand.
Okay. Well, let me see. Do you mind if I kind of go through and just see if there's anything that I don't think the galley can live without? Maybe look at some kind of deal.
And I mean, the merchant shop is filled with like fresh foods, canned foods, tinned foods, dried foods, all manner of like seasonings and things, components too, the components that you might need if you're like a wizard of sorts that needs those components. Rope and bits of leather and cloth and boxes and everything that you would need to either travel short distances or long distances are basically sold here.
Okay. I'm going to take a quick chance to just kind of examine some of the food stuff that she has and just kind of mutter something in thieves' cant under my breath just to see if she reacts.
Ooh. Give me a perception check.
All right. Ah, damn it. 14.
14?
Yeah.
Her eyes shift to look over at you as if she understood what you said.
Okay. All right. I'm going to, kind of continue browsing and just be like, again, just try to pepper in to a normal, okay. I don't know if I need that.
Okay.
Just kind of like, how much do you really want for this? Yeah.
As you do that, the dwarf seems kind of annoyed.
Yeah, we both know. I'm not going to, stand in the way of someone making some profit, but 450 gold for a jar of beeswax. I know.
But it is magical beeswax. It requires enchantments and effort to make it. It gives you resistance to wisdom saves, and it gives you bonuses to your wisdom saves. So if you have to make your way through the veil and you don't want to go mad from the effects, I can't think of a better way to try.
Can I try to persuade her that, like, hey, I'm willing to pay like vastly more than what I think the standard thing is worth, but that just sounds like an insane thing. It's like,
Give me persuasion.
Okay, persuasion.
Also, can I just say that passive looking around to see if there's any kind of celebratory things I can find for everybody else? Like a fun sun hat or like an accordion.
Yeah, I mean, those are easy enough here. I mean, there's lots of tchotchkes, small musical devices. There's even a series of shelves filled with like firecrackers and noisemakers as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
I only got a 12, so probably
12? Look, demand determines price. You'd be a daft fool to pay that much for papaya when you could just go out to the tree and pull it and buy it and not cost you anything. So it doesn't make sense that you want to give me more money for this and give me less money for that. You're either quite mad or you're just not very good at this. The price on the beeswax being magical is the cost. It's in high demand.
I just kind of throw up my paws. It's like, let me ask you this, because we have what? There's nothing there to block up maybe 10 people's ears. I'm gonna guess we're not fully settled, but our crew is probably going to be more than that. What do you have anything that might not be as effective, but that should
You watch as she points over to like shelves with boxes, and they all say earmuffs. I got a batch of those like about a year ago, except for one thing. It's never fucking snows here. So they're kind of useless. You're welcome to them for a copper a piece if you want them.
All right. Okay. Just out of this, how many total people do we think are going to be part of this crew? Because I don't know the size of the ship.
Well, you've got Alexander, right? And his immediate crew. And then you've got 4 Tabaxi and then your group. That's all you know of currently.
Okay. All right. I'll get a set of let's say 10 just to be safe, and then just kind of sigh under my breath and pass her the what was it, 450 gold. So I'll pass her 45 platinum pieces.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
Four
to,
point five,
going
right?
through the veil, you're definitely going to want this.
all right, so I got those. Anything that Puck needs? Are there any like particularly interesting looking spices or foodstuffs, or just something? That
This is a crossroads place, so I mean, there's anything you can think of. She has it.
Okay, all right. I don't know how long this is gonna go, but do you have like a Stanford Pack's the wrong word, but like just a collection of spices that I could, just zhuzh it up, just vary the meals, because I don't know how often you've been around stairs.
She hands you like a medium-sized leather bag. Fill the spices up in there, and I'll charge you 10 gold.
Okay, and I'll hand her another platinum and just kind of go through and just start.
You just start checking everything you can fit in there.
Yeah.
Peppers and salts and paprika and and like ginger and nutmeg and like all these spices that coming from all corners of Exandria that ended up here for sale. So I will say you've collected enough spices that when you try to make meals that are magical in nature, the DC on your success will be less. In other words, what might be an 18 to make will now be a 15. So these will give you those kind of bonuses for making meals easier as opposed to if they get harder.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Thank you. This has been an interesting excursion.
Nice. Wait, okay, so I need to buy the healing gourds. So before I forget, Puck is enjoying this too much, so I'm just gonna really revel in this. Okay, I'm getting a sun hat for Xanith because her helmet might heat up. I'm gonna take the weirdest looking instrument for Earthen, something that seems like nobody can fucking play.
Yeah.
Give him a challenge. I'm gonna. Is there like any like cute stuffed animals, maybe in the shape of either a mouse or a cat?
Sure.
Oh,
Nice spots. I'm trying to hide that from them. I'm getting like a really pretty mirror for Winter. I guess can I just look real quick through the navigation nautical area to see if there's anything at all that we might need, like floaties.
Floaties.
Whatever at all they have.
I'll say
we don't have.
Yeah, I'll say the one thing that you come across that you find very interesting are nose plugs of water breathing. They seem to be like these little plastic metal clamps that you put on your nose, and it looks like you can water breathe with them for up to an hour.
Oh my god, amazing.
And there's at least 24 of them in a small little iron box.
Oh, hell yeah. Getting as many of those as I can, depending on the price.
Okay. So I'll say all your trinkets and things that you gather up as gifts, maybe 2-3 gold total. The nose plugs of water breathing are 50 gold a piece.
Maybe not all of them then. Well, yeah, you know what? I have money to burn. Fuck it. We're not going to be in a market for the rest for a while, for like a while. So I'm going to get 12 of them.
Okay. It'll be 600 gold.
Ah, nice. And then also the healing ward I'm going to have to get. So 2 poison, 1 like the really good healing, and then 2 the kind of okay healing.
Okay. So she looks at everything that you gather up. Let's just call it for the nose plugs, the 4 potions. Did you need the healing kits, Da? Did you need those as well?
Yes.
So 2 greater healing potions, 2 regular healing potions, the dozen nose plugs of water breathing, your cute little gifts that you bought, and 2 of the potions of neutralized poison. this normally would go for about 5,000 gold total, but I tell you what, I'll sell it to you for 3,200 gold total.
Yeah, deal. Thank you.
You guys exchange everything. She begins to wrap everything up and give you everything in different, parcels and bundles. Meanwhile, it's almost like a Pretty Woman montage. Like all the other tabaxi are carrying all the packages for you, as they're now all following you out of the store and beginning to head in the direction of the Coral Finger.
Yes, I feel like Carrie from Sex and the City. I feel amazing.
Yeah, there you go. Just like that. So to answer your question about invisibility, Spot, there's two kinds of invisibility. There's lesser invisibility that can last up to an hour, but as soon as you make any contact or attack or are attacked successfully, it goes away. The other invisibility is greater invisibility that lasts up to a minute, but you can attack and you can interact with the world without being revealed.
Okay. I was curious because, and I'll get with you later. We don't have to do this in the middle of a game, but
no, that's fine.
I have the ability to make a creature I touch invisible, but obviously it has those things. But it was things like what I was, not to give away the game too much, but like if Xanth is using some moonbeam, if I go up and kind of like smack her and give her invisibility so that she can move around, she's already cast that. Would that just instantly negate that, or because she hasn't made a new spell, she hasn't made a new attack, would it continue until she goes up and casts something new or like punches somebody or something like
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. But I was actually going to poke my head back in and just kind of be like, okay, I didn't want to do this in front of Puck, but gerbils. Do you gerbils?
I think you ought to be looking for a pet store up in the Sky Market. I don't carry gerbil. Oh, you're going to eat them, aren't you?
Yes.
No, I will not be selling those anytime soon. Tabaxi eating habits are very gross, and I won't be involved. Sorry. Sky Market, I'm sure the pet store would be glad to sell you what you need to eat.
Okay. I just kind of begrudgingly walk out, just tail just completely flat, just drag on.
Oh.
And
So-
Urfin's not there to see it.
Zenith, you and Winter are patiently waiting at the Coral Finger. Sure enough, an entourage arrives as the last of the daylight sun is beginning to ebb. There's Puck, Spot, and Punch and Lunch, and 4 Tabaxi in tow. As there's kind of like a flurry of activities when they come in because they're all carrying a bunch of parcels and equipment and gear and other things. Puck, you and Spot see Zenith and Winter over on the other side of the bar, and she waves at you, and you guys make your way over there. You're now at your own table with the Tabaxi, and everybody's sitting down. Immediately, one of the servers comes by, puts down a tray of drinks and food that people can either drink or nibble at their own desire. But for now, the only person missing is Earth, and the rest of you are gathered within the Coral Finger.
Looks like you found a few things.
I think that's for you, Puck.
Wait, I'm so sorry. Again, my internet today is absolutely nightmare.
Oh, I was saying, looks like you found a few things.
We have found quite a few things. And
my buddies.
Yes. We run them through our shopping day, through the Purple Worm situation, through the Mannheim mermaid hand that we need to figure out. And of course, through the fun little celebration gift.
And the whole time, Winter's just like, well, this mayor's perfect because I'm in it.
Yes.
I'll take the hat and try and be a good sport, put it on top of my helmet, take the bird you gave me, put it on top of the hat, and just
Kind of like wearing
Just
one of those
sit
creepy
so
sweaters
awkwardly.
that your aunt, like wearing one of those creepy sweaters that your aunt knits for you because it's Christmas.
No, see, it's perfect. It looks perfect. Oh my god.
yeah, it's really good. Yeah,
Ah.
it's great.
Yeah, Winter like takes her mirror and shows it to you, Xanth, and she just whispers in your ear, "You're a really good sport." Because honestly, that looks ridiculous.
No,
And then she
because, like,
goes back to staring at the mirror.
if it heats up in the sun, the hat helps.
And it's like
It
one of
does-
those peasant farmer hats, right? Those straw hats that
It
like
gets
sits
real-
on top of your big helmet. And it almost kind of makes you look like a robot, like with a farmer's hat on it. It's awkward as hell, but it might work. You never know.
It
A
does.
robot
It
scarecrow.
gets real hot. This will be helpful.
That's true.
Well, I sent
Yeah.
a message to Earthen, but I haven't seen him yet. I don't know what
What'd
he's
you
up
get,
to.
Spot? What'd you buy for Spot? Oh, poor
Oh,
Puck.
Tally, you're lagging again.
No,
Puck,
I'm sorry.
what'd you buy for Spot?
Oh, I bought Spot a plush of a little cat and a little rat.
So like a little cat, a little rat plush, and you hand those over to Spot.
And Spot is just completely enamored, just like
Oh,
just
now you're a cat squared.
Something that was given to me. I didn't have to steal it.
Just
and
tucks
also
it like tucks it into their robes, like right over their heart. Just like,
oh,
Like a little clip-on
I will treasure
plush.
this.
I'm so happy. And also I tell them about the two shops that might be of interest to them. The one where I got the hand, where maybe their knowledge of Arcana could lead them to something interesting.
Yeah, that was up at the Sky Market, right? Up above in the Sky Market.
Yeah, and the armor place, which I don't know what their armor situation is, but the
Yep.
guy is very nice.
Guilford Smithy over on the other side of the Harbor's Ward
Okay.
in the warehouse district.
Okay. So
Yeah, I wouldn't mind hitting that place. Does the armor look pretty sweet? You wound up getting the T-Rex armor, right?
Yeah, it does. It looks good. It's
Yeah.
like you could tell that it's not a normal leather set. Like you could tell it's not normal leather, but the way he's cured the skin and developed the kind of like the hard surface of the skin, it gives off like a gray and kind of like a gray and brown leather feel or vibe to it, like visually. But you could see all of the T-Rex nodules, like those little tiny nodules of its flesh kind of tightly compacted together in the armor. So you know it's not traditional leather, as she describes it as being made of T-Rex skin. At one point, she picks up her dagger and plunges it into her armor, and the dagger literally kind of like bounces off and skitters off the armor,
Ooh.
unable to penetrate or show any sign of immediate damage.
That's right. Let's see anybody stabbing me in my back and killing me now.
It'll be harder this time.
Hell yeah. Also, sorry, what was the armor class? I don't know that I got that.
So it's considered studded leather, but you have a +2, and I'll get it updated in the D&D Beyond for you next week. So
Oh.
basically, you have resistance to all melee forms of attack. It's +2 protection, and it's treated as studded leather armor. It also is lightweight, so you get 10 feet of extra movement when wearing it. It does require attunement, however.
I'll try my best.
So does that mean like if she could move 30 feet before, she can move 40 feet per round now?
Correct.
Oh, that's really sweet. That's awesome.
I think
enough.
she normally moves 25, right? So now with this armor, she kind of moves as well as the rest of you do. She'll be able to move up to 35 feet.
Excellent.
The guy seems really nice. If any of you need anything, and also I gave him the contact of the place of worship that you're in contact with. He seemed like a good contact to have here.
I'll give these guys, while we're having drinks, the download on the stuff that I found in the library about the vampires and the gate, and the really old book that well, actually I won't talk about the old book. I'll just be like, oh, and I also heard about this trifecta faith thing. Seems interesting. Just really casual.
What?
It's like a Gideon's Bible for D&D.
She pulled open the drawer of one of the nightstands in the Coral Finger and found this book.
Yeah, it was that and the Book of Mormon.
Right.
So as the 3 or 4 tabaxi and the 3 of you, including Winter, begin to settle into a early evening of drinking, eating, and sharing stories about the different findings throughout the city and activities that you were doing that you choose to share with each other. Earthen, back up in the guild complex. Where did you fly off to? The council to look for Gribbles?
Yes, I went out looking for Gribbles.
Okay. You land at the entry point of the council chamber, and inside you could hear heated debate back and forth about challenges with supplies and food and some other things. And then, of course, you could hear the captain inside, the Vasselheim captain, kind of bellowing out that they're not so convinced that, this place affords an opportunity of any kind of advancement, or that keeping this place, supplied and equipped and protected might be a little bit too much for the reach of the Vasselheim Don Marshall organization, and that he is now petitioning the idea that the best thing to do is maybe just to abandon the island altogether, and kind of like have everyone move on and declare the island is off limits, too dangerous to habitate, to be, too dangerous to be used, too difficult to supply, too expensive to maintain. He seems frustrated as he's bellowing this out that all the other dozen or so people here who represent the different merchants and guilds and organizations of the city just seem to be petitioning him for everything under the sun, from water problems, food problems, supply problems. When are the next fleet of ships coming in? There's, the one thing that catches your eye or catches your ear the most is that they all equally seem to be complaining about high levels of theft. One of the portly merchants, I don't know what you've been told, but I was out over in the warehouse district. My entire inventory gone. All of my supplies. How am I supposed to stay in business with this kind of theft going on? And then, an elven gentleman, I understand what you mean. My supply of kerosene and oils and other things used to burn lanterns and torches and creosote and such things have gone missing as well. I was over there some 2 days ago bringing in a fresh supply, and all my inventory is absent. I don't understand. We need guards, and we need people to keep watch of the warehouse districts. How can we recover and make good our intents and purpose here if you can't even keep the wards of the district safe from being robbed? You look over to see a very kind of burly dwarf. That's not the worst of it. There's so much thieving going on over in the entertainment district. I can't even keep my tavern open. The only place that seems to be doing well is that damned abominable casino called the Red Eye. And I won't stand for it. Clearly, there's a group of thieves operating out of the Red Eye. Send your people down there to close them down and be done with it. How could you be so daft? And then it just kind of turns into the noises of an angry crowd, kind of, and then finally the captain goes, enough. I understand. I will do what I can. and begins to clear out the room. And gods, take these messages. And he's now talking to some of the other guards. And eventually, Gribbles is like pinching his nose and like rubbing his forehead as he comes from where the arguments were all taking place. Oh, Earthen, you're back. Hello. What's going on?
I have something. I found something that I need your assistance with.
I could certainly try. I'm a little spent. I was going to go home. It's night.
I don't think you're going to want to return home until you see this.
Okay. Well, lead the way. Show me what you found. And you kind of guide him over to the edge of the illusion. You bring him through. And there's Andrew patiently waiting. Oh, Master Gribbles. Didn't realize you were the one he was going to get. And Gribbles like, is this what I think it is? Well, first of all, that's a hell of an illusion. And that's a teleportation circle. How did you figure out this was here?
The same way I've done everything else that I've done on this trip.
Blind luck. Okay, good.
Uh-huh.
Good to know. Anyways, I'm not sure what you think I could do with this. I can certainly refer it to somebody else, I guess. I don't know.
Gribbles, I don't want Vasselheim involved in what may or may not be on the other side of this circle.
Why is that?
I brought you here because I trust you.
That's
I
fine.
know
But
you.
what do you think is on the other side of this? The other end of this? Why not trust the group that just liberated my city?
The group that now is talking about abandoning your city because you're too much work and too many problems and so much complaining.
Well, it's called a conversation, but if you want to deal in absolutes, you can. I don't understand. What do you think is on the other end of this? I mean, I could clearly read Arcana, and this.
If I've read the sigils right, this goes back to Thane's Reach.
That would make sense. The higher ups of the keepers and the makers and the takers, they all resided in Thane's Reach. This would explain how they came back and forth. All of them, with the exception of the core leadership that died in Thane's Reach, all the other ones are in prison, being escorted by the Vasselheim contingent back towards their city and back towards Isilra.
Are they all in prison? What degree of confidence do you have in that?
I pointed out everybody and gave names.
Those are the only ones that you know of that did not die at Thane's Reach, that you don't know may or may not have died at Thane's Reach.
He puts a gentle hand on your forearm. Earthen, your obsession is taking you down empty rabbit holes. The gnomes have been dealt with. They're no longer in charge of the city. You and your friends stopped whatever they were doing. It makes sense that they had a way of getting back and forth to where they lived and where they were conducting their business here. But all of that is gone now, Earthen. You seem to cling on to this strange hope that there's still something out there that we don't know about. I guess I'm not understanding why and what it is that you're looking for.
Gribbles, what do you know about the Hand of Fate?
The Hand of Fate? Well, it's a mythos that is part of gnome culture, that the hand that we use to make the devices that we rely on are fated for our intelligence, our gift of construction, and our natural affinity towards magic as well. It's a way of describing the way gnomes believe about themselves, I guess.
I'm going to pull out the key that I found
Well, that's
and
quite
say, no,
interesting.
I'm asking you about the hand of fate.
Oh, I wasn't aware it was a thee. I mean, this is just cultural text that I'm. Oh my, this is quite a fascinating. This book reads like a operating manual. Where did you find these things?
Who's been going through the dormitories and other buildings around?
Oh, well, we sent in guards and local constabulary to mostly Vasselheim people, as well as some of my own people, searching for things and making things. The only room that we were told to stay out of due to finding one of the captains there was
Masterson?
Masterson's chamber, yes. So it appeared that he had taken his own life.
How do you suppose Masterson took his own life? I saw the rope and I saw the blood.
Well, it looked like he
Who
might
found
have.
Masterson?
I believe the captain of the Vasselheim Watch did, along with a handful of his guards.
I found this in Masterson's room. How could they
Captain
have missed
Renault.
that? Renault?
Yeah, Captain Renault.
I found this in Masterson's room. How could they have missed this?
I don't know. Where did you find it?
Maybe we need to see the captain instead. Oh, I really don't want to
Oh,
involve
why
him
are
in
you
this.
not answering my question, Ethan, about how you found it?
Can I roll insight
Uh-huh.
against Gribbles?
Yeah.
Because I'm increasingly paranoid. That was a natural. That's a 1.
I mean, his face is pretty easy to read. He thinks you've gone insane. Like, he feels
Maybe.
like he's staring at a crazy person.
Crazy. I was crazy once. I look at Gribbles and I put my hand on his shoulder. How to describe to you what I've experienced over the last week and why I have a sudden mistrust of everything. It would take too long. Andrew, are you coming with me?
Andrew kind of like, to be honest, I'd like to know how you found it too. I mean, not all of us possess your gifts. Maybe they just missed it. Was it hidden?
Do these guys not use any kind of spells to assist in their search for things? Are they just walking blind in these rooms? I used the basic detect magic walking through the room, and the portrait on the picture on the wall was.
Gribbles is watching you be animated about, and he kind of like, Earthen, you do realize that not everybody is skilled in magic. There's not an excess of those that understand how magic works. Unfortunately, there are more of those that are skilled at hiding things than they are at finding things. It could just be simply a mistake. The question is, what does the key in the book do? Do you think they're connected to this circle?
The circle? Maybe the vault? I don't know yet.
Well, it does require a key to get into the vault, does it not?
Yes.
Well, perhaps
But
this
something
key
in the
gets
book-
us into that vault.
Then what was it in the book about the puzzle? We have to work out a puzzle to get this done.
Well, no, I believe your. So the book seems to read like an operator's manual to activate whatever they've built that they call the Hands of Fate. This book sounds like something that activates it. The notes seem to talk about that in order to deactivate it requires the solution of the puzzle associated to the device. So perhaps there's somebody else that has the other book that tells us how to do that. This feels like something that they're using if all else fails and they falter in whatever they're doing if I'm reading this correctly, this Hands of Fate could very much destroy the island if we don't figure this out.
Which is why I didn't go straight to the vault to open the door.
But I'm not really sure you know how to. Most of us don't know how to open the door. I'm guessing at the key. It does feel a little bit too simple. The other possibility is that this key may activate the device. Maybe that's why Masterson took his own life. Out of guilt. Or somebody covered it up.
Forgive me if I further sound paranoid, but that's why I'd like to find the captain and see exactly what state Masterson was found in.
Well, if you want to know the morbid truth, we have his body in repose down in the healing chambers of the prefect over at the Helm's Temple. We were kind of hoping that someone might want to take on the chance of speaking with dead. Because even Captain Renault was a little bit suspicious about the way that they found Captain Masterson.
You know, I have a friend who might be able to do that for us.
Oh.
Thank you, Gribbles. You've been awfully helpful. Andrew.
Yeah.
Would you come with me? I would certainly like to introduce you to my companions.
Sure. I got to go home first and let the wife know that I'll be out tonight. But where are you and your friends going to be?
But you're not from here.
I'm not from here, but it doesn't mean I stopped living. I brought my wife with me. She's on the ship.
Can't you send a message?
You seem very frustrated.
Yes. I am very focused on every detail right now. When I get into this...
Gribbles kind of looks at Andrew. Sergeant, go home. Spend time with your family. I need a moment with Earthen, if you wouldn't mind. Yes, sir. I know you don't like me calling it. It's fine. I'll find you later, Earthen. I'll yeah. And he kind of warps out of the illusion, and Gribbles just kind of places his hands behind the small of his back. Earthen, what are you looking for? What do you think all of this is? You seem so insistent. Why can you not accept the fact that you and your friends did this island a huge service? Yes, there's going to be difficulties. There's going to be complications regarding things. People are going to be purged. People will be found who are hiding. These are the normal things that happen after such things like this, an overthrowing of a very vile and contemptible organization like the Copper Takers and Keepers. But they're defunct now. Their leadership jailed. Vasselheim can be glib and a little bit over the top from time to time, but this feels like more than that, Earthen. This feels like looking for shadows when there's no sunlight. This feels obsessive.
There are shadows, Gribbles. We've seen the shadows on this island.
And you've dealt with them. What shadows are left? What corner in the round room has you convinced that there's something waiting for you? You saved an entire society of people. The Underdwelt is no longer for cast-offs. There's going to be a celebration soon in regards to this victory. Sure, there may be some rough edges, but what is it, Earthen? What's the evidence that you can point to let us share in this urgency?
So, can I roll insight against what specifically the merchants were claiming was stolen?
Sure.
If there's any connection,
Yeah.
to the items that were stolen.
Yeah, you can. Yes. That makes sense. It's a high
Right.
DC because you don't know a lot of the detail, but you can make an
Right.
insight check on that because it makes sense.
I'm gonna burn my last lucky point on that one. It was ugly.
You know, when the big
Oh,
bad
ugly.
shows up next week
Man.
and you've got no spell slots, don't come yelling at me.
Hey, we're about to go to sleep. I don't know, but that was atrocious, man. And it wasn't much better. Yeah, I'm not gonna get anything from it. That's an 18 with my bonus.
An 18?
Yeah,
Well,
I have
it's
a plus
high
11.
DC. Yeah, it's a high DC.
I have a plus 11 to insight, and that was an 18. Okay.
Yeah, I would say the one thing that you do get out of it is that none of them seem connected at all. Like what they took was random. Like they're stealing stuff that within weeks is going to be replenished by the Vasselheim trade ships, as well as if other trade ships are coming. But it doesn't feel like it feels like someone just stealing random shit.
It's the things being stolen. It doesn't make sense.
Well, there was quite a contingent of gnomes that fled. When they saw the fleet approaching, there was a great mob that went through the warehouse district, stole a matter of things, and fled on their ships. There's a good portion of the Vasselheim fleet now out there pursuing them.
What flag were they flying on those ships when they left?
Oh, well, they were all independent merchants in some cases. Not really flying any flag of note other than the guilds and houses that they were. I don't even think they belonged to the people who took them. I think these were people that recognized that their great grift was over with, and they just wanted to flee the island.
How long has the Red Eye been open?
The casino's been there forever, as far as I know. The entertainment district is, well, not exactly one of holy principle. I mean, it does have brothels and other things for purposes of entertainment, theaters and casinos and gambling dens of all sorts. It's quite conceivable that there might be a thieves guild that's been operating in Gnomeworks under the admonishment and privilege of the gnome guilds. They often go hand in hand. I can assure you, when the chaos dies down, we'll deal with them next. I think these are normal growing pains, especially when you're no longer under the yoke of those guilds.
You certainly want me to believe this.
I don't want you to believe anything you don't want to believe. I just want to make sure that you're not going to get you in trouble looking for things that don't exist. And if they do...
the last time I went looking for something that didn't exist, a giant fire creature from another realm.
Well, that's not entirely
exploded
true.
Out of a volcano.
That's not entirely true. I think you and your friends knew of the threat. Maybe not that specific, but you knew the lizard folk needed your help. You knew that when we sent you out into the wilds, that those of us with an interest in those relationships with the lizard folk knew that they were in dire need. And yet you and your friends figured out what that dire need was, and you freed them, you kept the gates sealed, and you participated in making sure that the Great Fire Titan was unable to leave Plane of Fire and destroy and remake whatever it was set to do. Thane's Reach is gone. The power of the Guild Gnomes is broken. Now, if you're set on the idea that there is some other power out there manipulating even what they were doing, I could get behind that. But I don't know if there's a threat on this island any more in that relation. I know about your conversation with Pike and the prefect. I spoke with the prefect last night. And we're all in agreement that the Shattered Isles, well, in my opinion, is a fool's errand, probably holds a secret that we don't necessarily know all the truth about. Whether or not the eyes of these guilds cast their way in that direction prior to you and your friends helping bringing them down, it's possible. Don't know for sure because they're all dealt with. Perhaps if we could get your young friend to speak with Masterson's remains and ask him some pretty poignant questions about what this Hands of Fate thing is, that could give us the evidence we need to support your concern.
You've given me a lot to think about, friend.
Well,
I was going to pat him on the shoulder and start to step through the illusion.
you hear his voice. Well, let's deal with this. And you hear the invocation of a dispel, and the illusion drops. As you go to pass through it, it drops around you. And you watch as Gribbles looks at the stone in the center of the platform. My. And he walks over to it, and he pulls it out of the center of the platform and hefts it. Well, maybe a reminder of just how good you and your friends really are. Tosses you the Greater Illusion Stone. It does not require attunement. Once per day, you can cast a Greater Illusion that can last either a minute or 30 days. With that, that's where we're going to finish tonight, because that feels like a good stopping point before you guys gather at the Coral Finger. Holy shit. I love Paranoid Earth. And I was rolling such good insights on you that it triggered. I have a whole series of narrative content for Gribbles. So it triggered that part of his psyche, of his personality. And that's why he was grilling you like, what the fuck is this guy think is going to happen? Like, he hasn't lived your life. So he doesn't know you've been on the run. He doesn't know, your relationship with the Dwendalian Empire and everything that's kind of created your paranoid background. So, and it just gets worse the more shit happens. Would you guys like to see what the Hands of Fate looks like?
Yes. Ooh.
Nice.
Ooh, that's cool.
Just a small thing to be dealt with. Nothing major.
Right. I'm like, I walk up and put the key in the thing and everything resets. And I'm like, oh, shit.
I should have known that after we took a Sunday off and Puck was itching for a shopping session. Just in case, I built a battle board just in case you made it as far as I thought you were going to make it. But, So are we all good for... Well, actually, you guys all linger. Everyone else, thank you for coming out. We will be back here next Sunday, as far as I can tell. If not, hop into our Discord where we talk about all this shit anyways. But, hey, be kind, be safe, and don't forget to play a game. And we'll see you guys next week. Good night, everybody. Bye.